That's how you turn it on to go.
Dang, these teachers right there for me.
Good right now.
Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the school board meeting, which is on a Thursday instead of a Tuesday, January the 10th, 2019. Happy New Year. If you wish to speak during the hearing of citizens, please pick up a card in the back of the room, fill it out legibly, please, and turn it in to Kathy Tompkins to my left, and at the appropriate time, I'll call you up to speak for 3 minutes. This is what the card looks like for those of you that might not know. Just before we get started with the meeting, I just want to make just a quick comment. Many of you may know that the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Commission on Safety and Security has been meeting for, I guess, a total of about 18 times over the course of the last 6 months, and have provided us with a 439-page report. We are going to review that. Of course, that will be reviewed by the legislature, and legislation will be considered relative to those points this year in session. We will have a public session with our Safety and Security Department, and also a private session in the near future to discuss the details that we can give to the public, as well as to those that we cannot, relative to how we'll proceed with our police department. So I just wanted to make those comments. We are aware of that. We will be working on that in the near future. So now, if you will please join me by standing and saluting the flag, which will be done tonight by under the direction of Sarasota High School's JROTC Color Guard and Sergeant First Class Pulpus.
Forward, march. Mark time, march. Color guard, halt. Left, base. Reset, arm.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Close verse, march. Color guard, halt. Right, base. Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Right, base. Post. The colors. Reset. Arms. Order. Arms. Left. Base. Mark time. March. Forward. March.
Tonight, we do not have a student representative. I guess it's the first week back and people are busy with other things. But we do have a couple of special presentations. I'd like to call Dr. Dawn Clayton to the podium, please, for a special presentation.
Good evening. Tonight, we begin our school board workshop or presentation meeting with the moving celebration of diversity within our school district. Tonight, we will experience the first special presentation of the new year. This special presentation is designed to recognize the life of an American hero. As you all know, on January 21st, 2019, Sarasota County, in fact, our nation, will celebrate and honor the life of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. One of the most influential and defining moments of Dr. King's life was at the historic March on Washington, where he delivered his I Have a Dream speech that visualized peaceful coexistence for the world. Although Dr. King delivered this speech nearly 56 years ago, children all across our county remember his words as we pause to celebrate Dr. King's life this month. Dr. Rachel Shelley, the very amazing and proud principal of Booker High School, is here tonight to support one of her amazing students, Tamaris Folks. Tamaris is a junior at Booker High School. He is a visual performing arts student, and if you have a moment to talk to him, you will be just amazed at his intellect and his drive. And very soon you will see his talent as he performs and honors Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy with a very special rendition of My Dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
The power button's on the bottom. You got it?
Good evening, everyone. Hope you wouldn't mind if I can get a little assistance.
Just a clap. All right. One. Once there was a gentleman, he talked about the promised land. He reached out and took the troubles of the people in his strong black hands. He had a dream that everybody ought to hear the bells of freedom ring. Now the people shout and sing about the dreams of Martin Luther King. Sing about the dreams of Martin Luther King. Oh, the dream of Martin Luther King. Oh, the dream of Martin Luther King. Sing about the dream of Martin Luther King. In his dream, he saw the people of this land walking side by side. White man, black man, red man, yellow man, loving one another with pride. Oh, the dream of Martin Luther King. Oh, the dream of Martin Luther King. Sing about the dream of Martin Luther King.
Wow, what a performance. Thank you so much. Dr. Shelley, you have such talented students. I was able to go and see the Marvin Gaye show at West Coast Black Theater Troupe last Friday night. It's still on for a couple more nights for any of you who can get a ticket. And I understand the lead in that was a Booker grad as well. And I mean, it was just amazing. Of course, Marvin Gaye was my generation, and I remember being a young person and really watching him when he was with Motown, and so it was really inspiring and wonderful. And I saw the play last year about Martin Luther King and in Memphis, and you know, they've just done some wonderful things. But thank you, big talent, big talent. And next we have a presentation by our Dr. Laura Kingsley, our Assistant Superintendent and Chief Academic Officer, regarding embracing our differences.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Bowden, Mr. Hardy. We are so excited tonight to recognize embracing our differences and the work of some very dedicated teachers. So embracing our differences, I consider a lighthouse for anyone who's interested in actually changing the world. when you travel the waters of our world, you realize how critical lighthouses are to create smooth passages that keeps folks out of harm's way. Even when my husband and I were in Antarctica over the holidays, we were shocked to see lighthouses in those calm waters. So when there were no lighthouses, there was chaos and injury. Embracing our differences, they provide the beacons of light, just like the lighthouses do. So if you want to change the world, you have to think like embracing our differences. How do you change minds? How do you cause people to think about taking someone else's perspective? How do you open minds? How do you create a community where everyone feels accepted and welcome? Embracing our differences has the magic that creates that kind of community. They involved our children, adults. They provide training for our teachers so that the children understand and think in concise and creative ways. And this being Sarasota, they involved the arts. So they gave our children this authentic audience. We're always searching for authentic audiences for our children. They gave them a creative outlet for their genius. This was art with such powerful messages. They also used what I call the power of the word. They ask people to sift through their verbose thoughts about how they feel, how they want to feel, how they want others to feel about them, and how they want others to feel about each other. To sift through those thoughts and elicit a few words, which is incredibly hard to do. I'm sure you wish I had that talent right now. It's incredibly hard to do. When you get to a compelling message that captures the essence of all of your thoughts, that's challenging. And our teachers are able to help our children sift to get the essence. And then you just go big. You know, you take over the world, or at least you take over Island Park. But really, embracing our differences has taken over our entire community. They also hire brilliant leaders. You have the indomitable executive director, Sarah Wertheimer. You have director, incredible, trained teacher, Brenna Wilhelm. And I know that forever, Bernadette Peters. You probably would like to be Bernadette Peters. Bernadette, sometimes, or not. Bernadette Bennett has been our teacher liaison with them for many, many years, and we're grateful for that. And then, you know, you have to say, this was the brainstorm of two incredible philanthropists in our community. Gracie and Dennis McGillicuddy remain the board chair and the vice chair and remain committed and spend their time and I'm sure their resources with this amazing initiative. So please join me in welcoming to the podium Sarah and Brenna and Dennis and Gracie to please stand up here. Sarah's going to say a few words. Brenna is going to introduce some very special teachers. And Dennis and Grassi will close after a photo op, if you don't mind coming down after Brenna announces the names. Come down for a photo op with the teachers, and then Dennis and Grassi will close. So we're very appreciative. Thank you so much for being here. And Sarah, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kingsley. And thank you for everything that you do to lift up our teachers and students every day. We're truly grateful. As many of you know, Embracing Our Differences has grown exponentially over the past 15 years, and a lot of that is thanks to our incredible partnership with the Sarasota County School District. This past year alone, we had 39,000 students participate in our education initiatives, and thousands of those students, with the help of our teachers and administrators, worked on art and quotation submissions for our annual exhibit. This past year, we actually received 11,791 submissions from 111 countries, 44 states, and 239 schools. The exciting part about that is that 7,244 of those submissions came from our local students, which is what it's really all about. And that's why we work so closely with our teachers, and that's why we developed our Education Ambassador program here with us today. These dedicated teachers have been working very closely together since September, meeting monthly and creating projects to do in their schools to promote the values of kindness, respect, and inclusion. So thank you all for recognizing our education ambassadors and helping them continue to bring this life-changing program to their students every day. Thank you.
Please hold your applause until the end. Melina Atkins from Tuttle Elementary School. Petey Brown from Philippi Shores Elementary School. Linda Campbell, Venice Middle School. Katrina Kloniger Moyer, Taylor Ranch Elementary School. Kathleen DeGrenier, Southside Elementary School. Joanna Fox, Booker Middle School. Tene Francis, Alta Vista Elementary School. Don Herndon, Easter Seals, Southwest Florida. Paul Hutchinson, McIntosh Middle School. Jonathan Jenkins, Woodland Middle School. Andrea Justiniano, Riverview High School. Courtney Knowles, Wilkinson Elementary School. Marina Lamella, Atwater Elementary School. Holly Maglicane, Northport High School. Kimberly Olson, Venice Middle School. Chris Pauling, Pine View School. Rachel Schaefer, Lamarck Elementary School. Alicia Stein, Bayhaven Elementary School. Brooks Tracy, Sarasota Middle School. And Michelle Wallace, Taylor Ranch Elementary School. And then Bernadette.
Closer together.
I'm going to just say one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to take this one. Okay.
Okay, all right, good. Yes, that's it. You got it. We're deciding. So I just want to say one thing about these teachers before they actually exit. I just want to say to our board members, I know you recognize how hard our teachers work, and these teachers are spending evenings and weekends, and they're doing it because they care about our kids, and they want to create the kind of school culture that we want to see in every school, and that permeates our entire community. So we're really, really proud of their efforts and the time they spend when they could be doing a whole bunch of other things. They've chosen to participate in an initiative that I think is one that has changed our world. So thank you to the teachers. And then speaking of changing worlds, here we have Gracie and Dennis McGillicuddy. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Laura.
Thank you. I really want to be in keeping with what you said, Laura, because when we started 16 years ago, we had 129 submissions for 39 billboards. And now we have almost 12,000 submissions, and so many of them come right here from our Sarasota County. So we couldn't do what we're doing if it wasn't for all the incredible effort and time that you put in and how you inspire our kids. And you are our heroes. Thank you.
I'd like to add to that. One of the most favorite parts every year of our participation in embracing our differences is to be down at the Bayfront as the students get bussed in and the teachers bring them, and our docents from our high schools and the Coexistence Club talk to them. And Gracie and I tell you, we burst with joy to experience our teachers who bring the kids there prepared, not just a walk in the park to say that, but actually prepared, and to hear the discussions, to hear the openness of the teachers, and then watch the kids respond. It truly is. We talk about art being transformative, and that experience down at the Bayfront, when the kids come, it is transformative. You can see it, you can feel it, it's palpable. So when I think about, and I want to say to you all, both to Todd and Laura and to the board, what deep gratitude we have for the partnership that you've allowed to develop. It's one of the best collaborations in our community. If we didn't have this, the ingredient would be missing to change our community and to offer these children a perspective on how to look at life and how to relate to one another. So on behalf of Gracie and I, the board of Embracing Our Differences, we thank you from the bottom of our heart for your support and your participation in this.
I think we'd like to make some comments. Mrs. Zucker?
I'd just like to thank the both of you. It's been a fantastic endeavor, and I do remember when you first started and you barely had anyone to play. 129 was not enough for you. You wanted the world to participate, which is what's happening now. But thank you so much for this partnership. It brings joy to our students, and it also challenges them. My grandson, Owen, was involved with Embracing Our Differences, either a saying or a picture. I can't even remember anymore. But it's so important. And thank you to the teachers, because it's extra time on your part to help these students to be successful. So thank you very much.
Mrs. Brown.
I too would like to thank you for what you've done, and have been watching you these 15 years and been a proud supporter and a contributor, both myself with a coat and I think my daughter's class with a picture in it. And she still has her copy of it hanging in her classroom and explains it all to her kids every year. but it really does. I think it's morphed into something more than what you even thought it would be in the beginning. And the reception that you have where we can see all of them. And I'm glad this year that you were able to move it up. I think, for more people to be able to see it, but to make it easier for us with our testing schedule so we can get more students there. But, not only do you do this wonderful art project, but, I know I participated, and other board members did too, with the Day of Kindness, the bucket filling. I read to, I think, 3 different classes with that, and then the Dr. Seuss Day. Who doesn't love a Dr. Seuss book? And it's just so great that you not only get us in there reading it, but you give the books to the classrooms, and that's just wonderful. And I know the kids that I worked with really enjoyed it, and were grateful for what they had. And thank you for allowing us to do that.
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, I want to echo and piggyback on what Ms. Brown was talking about. You guys don't just embody embracing the differences, you guys embody making a difference. And you guys make a difference from, Dennis and I were talking about the most vulnerable children in our society, to kids to 12, to everybody who goes to the Bayfront Park, the retirees who are walking during the day and seeing the emotion, not only of seeing the kids come off the buses and interacting, but just having to sit there at the bay and reflect on the imagery and what it all means. So I really do thank you for everything you do, not just for the school, but for our entire society. I really do appreciate it. And the teachers back there, it's the difference of you guys not looking at, 2 o'clock's here, I'm going to get my car and I'm going to leave. It's the fact that you guys are staying behind and you guys are trying to make a difference too. And it's felt with each of your kids and each of the community. So thank you too.
Dr. Bowden.
I think when we think of embracing our differences, we think of the annual display down at the Bayfront. But I want to make sure that we shine a light on the staff development that you make available to our teachers. I've had an opportunity to attend those staff development, and I can tell you I've attended staff developments at the University of Virginia, at Harvard, at some of the finest institutions in this country, and the training that our teachers receive from embracing our differences is second to none. And I want to thank you for what you do for our teachers, and that has such an impact the way they carry that back into their classrooms. And so we talk a lot about what happens down at the Bayfront, but it's a 365-day-a-year program, and I want to thank you for what you do. We started a tradition in which we've recognized some of our community leaders with a superintendent's coin, and if you will indulge me for a second, I would like to present both Dennis and Grassi with one of our superintendent's coin to recognize your leadership in this community, and you're really impacting not only the community of Sarasota, but Sarasota County Schools. So I'll join you down on the floor and make the coin presentation, if I might.
This is beautiful. Oh, goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I get you to stand for a quick picture?
Mrs. Ziegler.
There's not enough time for me to share how grateful I am for the work that the two of you have done. And truly, I think we always talk about academics, but I believe that many of us, the board believes this, and this community believes that it comes down to the culture, and that is where you can really change lives. And then next comes academics. And I know Dr. Kingsley said something, is that you have truly changed this community with this. And it's such an initiative to get behind. I mean, how can kindness, respect, and inclusion in a time that we need it more than ever? And I applaud the teachers for your extra effort, but I know it's something to believe in, because you know that that's exactly what's going to change the environment and allow our children to thrive in an environment for years to come. So thank you for everything you guys do. We are very, very, very grateful for your generosity, your spirit, and your vision. And again, thank you very much.
Mrs. Brown.
I'm just sorry that everyone watching can't see, what we can see. I'm already looking at the book. But if you go to embracingourdifferences.org, you can see this submissions, and not only that, you can hear what the submitter had to say about it. Like a person is a book in the great library of the world, and like every book, they wait to be judged by their inside and not their cover. It came from a woman in Romania, and then the number from the students. It's amazing. But I really encourage anyone to go to embracingourdifferences.org and see not only the submission this year, but past years too, and how you can get involved.
Well, I'll kind of wrap this up, if that's possible. Sarah, I know that your leadership is going to be phenomenal at embracing our differences, and of course, I've been a fan of Sarah's for a long time. She's an old soul, and Dennis and Gracie, you've made such an impact in many things in this country, but you certainly made a great impact in Sarasota County. And when we looked this year at more diversity with our LGBT guidelines, which the students got almost instantly, and the impact that that's had on some of our students and their ability to live and feel safe in our schools, is only impacted more by some of the things that Embracing Our Differences has done for those students in the past. And I think it's a destination now to go down to the park and to see the billboards and have lunch there, and it really is a destination. And we are so far ahead of many communities that have Embracing Our Differences as a model in certain areas of their community. I just think, I always think Sarasota's the best anyway. We all do that, but a lot of that is done based on your leadership and based on the leadership of your organization, and we're just looking forward to it. I know Brooks has shared with me many of the things that he has done with his students over the years, and we have such wonderful art teachers. All of you are doing such great work in various art forms, and we thank you and we thank this organization because, yes, working together with them, we have exemplified excellence and best practices and all that is going on. And thank you very much, and have a great year. And now we'll move on to Superintendent's Report.
There is no Superintendent's Report this evening.
Okay, that's nice and good and short. We'll move on to hearing of citizens, and each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. They will move to this area here. There will be a light that's green for 2.5 minutes, and then it will go to caution, and we respect and hope that they will only speak for 3 minutes. Please note that respect for divergent views, points, and civility should be exemplified. Listen politely, no clapping, and I will call up the first person now, Brent Gibbs.
Hello, can you hear me? Everybody? My name is Bren Gibbs, and I'm here tonight. I want to begin tonight a journey with you of shedding a new vantage point on an issue in the school system, and it is one that I am presenting of hope and of healing. So I want to begin by saying oncegay.com. This is a movement called the Changed Movement that was birthed out of California to share the stories of people from all walks of life and all ages that have come out of the LGBTQ plus lifestyle. And I want to repeat, let me be clear, I'm speaking of those who have left this lifestyle. These people tell their stories about how and why they entered into this lifestyle, and how and why they came out of it. Many share about how it was experiences such as sexual abuse, identity issues, insecurities confusions, and tendencies that led them into this lifestyle. But once those deeper issues were dealt with, they no longer chose their alternative lifestyle. Almost always, these things happen to them at a young age. But it wasn't until later in life that they were healed and helped from it. This shouldn't be for our children. I share this movement with you all today due to the policies and procedures that have been instituted by this board and the superintendent concerning gender identity. I believe you care for all the children that you have the privilege of overseeing. But I believe that there is misrepresentation and a faulty system established as to how to deal with these youth who identify them as LGBTQ+, as well as those who don't identify themselves this way. I believe these policies and procedures are actually hindering our children and are sabotaging them from the opportunity of dealing with the deeper issues in their hearts that's causing confusion, hurt, and pain. These policies and procedures could set young people back for years and keep them from their true identities, just like the stories from oncegay.com that I have shared with you about today. These stories from oncegay.com are similar to many people in this community as well who have gone through this same process. I know my opinion is shared with many in our community, and throughout the next several board meetings, my hope is that I, as well as others, can shed some greater light and a different vantage point on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I believe this is John Citro.
How you guys doing tonight? I'd like to thank you for being here. As we talk about race, we talk about color, some of the things that are important to us, we'd like to bring recognition to first our police officers in Brookside and Wilkinson. We're looking to bring acknowledgement for them to come into our schools to keep our children safe. As we go through these tough times with the things we have being dealt with us nowadays in school, we're trying to figure a way to present these to the gentleman with the chief of police as like an award ceremony or something like that to make them aware of their importance.
He gets 3 minutes too.
Stand up.
Cute.
That's one of our subjects. Another subject is a project that my children thought about was to bring a Holocaust cart from Boca Grande Museum to Brookside Middle School. My son set it up for this year, but it didn't go through this year, so we're going to try and set up for 8th grade in Brookside next year, where we dealt with the museum. They approved it. We just have to have the approval from the principal. That's another thing that's dear to our heart. Another thing that I like to speak about is we talk about barriers, races, and stuff like that. One of the most important things I hold dearest to my heart is literacy. It's one of the issues that I have with reading and writing. I'm at less than the 1st grade. And as I try to be a leader for my children, to do these things for school, I'm also trying to deal with the schools and school board. And I would like to be acknowledged as far as to get some kind of help with the schools and school board for the ADA accommodations for me to deal with my children, to be able to work with the schools, to break down the barriers that I'm having with the schools and school board. If we could work on getting some help there as far as with me and my school, with the children, with Wilkinson and Brookside, my son over there, Shane, we're asking for help to meet or any suggestions that we could get to help me with literacy with my children at school. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John. I would say you might leave your name and number with Kathy Tompkins, please, and we'll certainly get someone who can talk to you about this.
Thank you. I appreciate it because I've been working with the schools, and I've been working with landings in the back here, and I like to have things done before, like every year with trying to get a family advocate. It seems like we run out of time at the end of the school year, and if we can have our needs met, I can assure you that not just our education, our grades would go up, but our attendance and everything. I like to keep school fun. I want my children to go to school. I stand behind you guys 100%. I stand behind the school teachers and everything. I try to bring home everything that you guys teach in school. I try and bring it home. It's as we talk about these barriers, and a lot of barriers that we don't understand is literacy. And as I stand before you, I'm at less than a first grade reading level. I did join the Wilson reading program approximately 2.5 years ago, and I'm, like I said, about first grade, so I'm doing everything I can as a parent, single parent, with the disabilities I have, and I'm looking to working with you guys to bring it together so that my children could be successful leaders.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And next we have Mr. John McAward.
Good evening. I come before you tonight because I have a concern regarding a situation that happened to a friend of mine who is a faculty member at Brookside Middle School. Almost a year ago now, there was an incident in an after-school track meet that caused, it was a day after Parkland shootings, I believe. And a rule had come down saying that no student was allowed to be on campus with a hoodie. There was a student who had already been expelled from Brookside, whom this teacher did not know. He's the athletic director, John Russo, and he was on the field getting ready for an afternoon track meet. And he saw this figure in the hoodie, and he pursued him. Left his 7-year-old on the field as he walked behind him, trying to get him to stop and identify himself. All of this is, from what I understand, has been is available on video from people who witnessed the events. The situation wound up with the student in question, who actually was a student at the school, despite the fact that he had been expelled from the school. Somebody at headquarters had allowed him to come back to Brookside rather than to send him to Oak Park. And in the resulting confrontation, he punched the principal twice in the face. And the only person who was charged with anything was John Russo. And for the last 11 months, I think he's been a teacher of the year at his school. He's the athletic director. He's been over 20 years with the school system. He's been sitting in a room at the landings without any assignment. And even after the DA refused to bring his case to trial, he has still not been heard from. He has still not heard from the school board regarding his status. The two people who are going to be reviewing this case, and they've promised a decision by the end of this week. One is the principal of the school, who in my opinion, threw him under the bus, and the other is the head of secondary education, Stephen Cantes, who was the one who overrode the decision and put him back in Brookside. It hardly seems to be an objective panel to evaluate John's future with the school board, or with the school system. But even more importantly, as a result of this situation, the union has advised all teachers not to. Is that 1 minute?
Time is up.
Okay. well, they've advised the teachers not to intervene in any situation where they have to place hands on a child, even if it means keeping a bigger child from harming a smaller child, but to call security in the building. So I hope you'll take a keen interest in this and look further into it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And that's the last card for our hearing of citizens. Do we have any additions or corrections to the consent agenda, Dr. Bowden?
Yes, ma'am. There is an addendum to item 7, the approval of the instructional classified personnel report.
May I have a motion on the amended consent agenda?
Move approval of the amended consent agenda.
Second.
Any comments? Please vote. What's going on with this?
Click on it.
Click on NA?
Yeah. Don't know what we're voting for. It's not applicable.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All against, please say nay. The ayes carry, majority 5-0. There are no pulled comments and no new business, so we're now to announcements. Do I have any announcements? I want to mention that we have a wonderful program that will be held at the Venice Performing Arts Center next Friday night, the 18th, called Artsbrageous, which is specifically for students, and it's a multimedia arts presentation. I want to encourage you all to attend. We will have a board retreat next Thursday, January 17th. Aren't we all excited? At 9 o'clock at the Community Foundation. We have a convocation of all governments in Sarasota County on Friday, January 18th at 9 a.m. at the Suncoast Technical College on Beneva. We have the next board work session on Tuesday, January the 22nd at 10 a.m. and a regular board meeting on Tuesday, January 22nd at 3 p.m. Any other comments? We're adjourned.
I took the test.
As a record, all right,
At the
I'm
very
taking
end.
it when I get home.
At the very end, when I did all the tests.
You said, I like